Hi, today we're going to talk about a concept very familiar to a lot of individuals diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, and that is favorite person. We're also going to talk about the 4 relationship types associated with favorite person. So let's get started. So first, let's sort of explain what favorite person is. Now, favorite person is different than a best friend. Okay, so a best friend, these are people that you love and count on. But a favorite person is someone you have an emotional dependence on, someone who can make or break your day. So this is an individual that provides a sense of emotional validation. Okay? And it clarifies where you are emotionally. A lot of times it can give people along the borderline spectrum this sense of security, safety, understanding, but not always. And let's talk about the 4 relationship types first. Okay. So the first one, I call this the roller coaster. And this is where you shift between idealization and devaluation. And this is when anything changes. It could be that a favorite person's, the tone of their voice, their body language, not responding to texts in an anticipated amount of time. And the shifting only goes between the 2 extremes. Okay. It's like that you're happiest when they tell you that they love you and they are there. But when they're not, or you perceive that there's an issue, you go to the complete opposite. You go to that sense of maybe self-harming, suicidal thoughts, when anything changes unexpectedly. So it's that roller coaster, it's that emotional roller coaster that you experience. Another relationship type with favorite person is called distorted others. Now this is it's a platonic sort of love that you have for this individual. Now you might not even know the person very well, but you still idealize them so much, you hold them in such high esteem, you create your own image of who they are, what you expect they would be like. So for you, they become exactly what you need. So you build up this concept of this distorted others, because a lot of times it's very difficult for them to live up to that. So you end up with a lot of internal conflict, a lot of sort of unfulfilled expectations and things of that nature. And that's called the distorted other. Now the other relationship type is called testing and confirming. And a lot of folks along the borderline spectrum do this quite often, testing and confirming, but with the favorite person, it's even more intense. There's a lot more anxiety associated with it. There can also be some severe depression and other issues. Let me explain what it is. So in testing and confirming, it's needing someone so bad that it's physically painful when they leave. Okay? It's apologizing for every little thing because you don't want to give them a reason to leave you. Okay? It's picking fights to make sure that they'll stay, so you're always testing, well, how far can I push? So you may create arguments, you may be overly sensitive, and you're saying, well, if I do this and they stay, then they really love me. And that, of course, can put you on a really negative cycle to eventually push someone so much that they do actually leave, put them to the point where they are leaving. And that's why these treatment techniques we're going to talk about in a moment are so important and so valuable for you. Now, the last type of relationship that you can have with your favorite person is that missing internal part. So they're external. Okay, so what this is that this has been described to me by a client who said that they're like my drug. Whenever I get their attention, I'm happy for a while, but when I don't, it's like the world's falling apart and I don't know what to do next. They're that missing puzzle piece. Okay? And it's that missing internal part that you're looking for externally to give you that sense of completion. Now here's the thing about the 4 relationship types. Are they mutually exclusive? And that's no, they're not. So you can experience these 4 different relationship types with the same favorite person. But here becomes the issue, right before we talk about some of those treatment techniques. When we expect so much of someone else, there tends to be a lot of variability. And I think if you're watching this video, you probably know what I'm talking about, right? Is that we can depend on people, but it's difficult. And the expectation of 100% dependence and fulfillment becomes very, very difficult. So the best thing to do, and what I do with a lot of my clients that are along the borderline spectrum, is build this sense of empowerment, this sense of self-efficacy. If you've seen my Instagram and Twitter stuff, you've seen that I put a lot of stuff out there about empowerment, about sort of building who you are and growing who you are. And that's the idea. Because this favorite person, although it sounds like that teddy bear that we expect that provides us so much safety and security, when it's someone else, the variability of another human being plays its part as well. So in that becomes really difficult and very difficult to manage. Let's talk about 5 treatment techniques, ways to sort of manage this concept of favorite person, okay? So the first one, which I alluded to just a moment ago, is finding a transitional object. Now, what is a transitional object? A transitional object is, it could be something that you grew up with. It is an object. It is not a living person. It is an object that means so much to you, that maybe you put a lot of emotion in. For example, when I was 15, 16 years old, my dad gave me this. It was a little pocket knife, and it was a Roy Rogers and Traeger pocket knife. A lot of you may not know who that is. I'm dating myself a little bit, so stay with me if you can. He was a television cowboy, right? A little bit like the Lone Ranger, but not as popular. Okay, but and this knife, and when he gave it to me, it meant the world to me, because he got it from his dad, my grandfather, when he came to the United States. And that just meant the world to me. That's a transitional object. That's something that I have high value for, that means a lot to me, that I have a strong emotional connection to. And when I hold that and I touch that, I really feel a connection to my dad. And do you have a transitional object? A lot of my clients, I'll often ask them, what is your transitional object? And for those who have worked with me, we talk a lot about transitional objects. We build a transitional object. And this is a lot of time, it's a Post-it note. And when we talk about, as we're going through treatment, we talk about some issues and concerns that they have. And what I call core content, these are the things that drive some of those, what are called maladaptive or negative behaviors. And I write them down on the Post-it. And once we're done with treatment, I give my client the Post-it note. And that's a transitional object. It's a part of something that we've created that means a lot to my client. And they take it with them once they've graduated or finished or come to a completion point of treatment. That's that transitional object. But it's not as variable. Compare it to your favorite person. There isn't as much variability. You have this transitional object that gives you a sense of security, a sense of hope that means a lot to you, but without the variability of dependence on someone else. Okay, so that's your transitional object. The next one is finding that relationship balance. Now, with that favorite person, you want to try to have a healthy relationship with, right? You want to have healthy understanding, recognizing that they do have flaws, recognizing that their emotions are variable, right, as well. So what we want to do is to get this relationship balance. When you feel yourself starting to questioning, maybe you start to feel a lot of anxiety, you feel those internal triggers, whatever they may be, what I want you to do is stop, process the experience, figure out what the end result is. What do you want out of the end result? Okay? And then re-engage. And that end result could be that you want a healthier relationship, right, with your favorite person. You want your favorite person to respond to you in a particular way. What's the best way to do that? Okay? What is the way that makes your favorite person feel safe, feel understood, and who wants to interact with you? So that's another one, finding that relationship balance. Another one, because of all the anxiety and stress that tends to be associated with favorite person, mindfulness is another critical component. I have a video on mindfulness. You can find others out there as well. You can Google mindfulness. There's a lot of different mindfulness practices out there. What mindfulness does, it's not meditation. Mindfulness brings you to the present, gives you a sense of calm and awareness of what's going on around you. And you can use mindfulness before you interact with that favorite person, before your emotions are propelling you to engage with that favorite person. Okay, which sometimes that engagement is, it can be the testing and confirming, it can be some of that roller coaster, that idealization, devaluing. So what we want to do is get this sense of mindfulness, a sense of peace and understanding of where you are to engage in a more effective manner. Okay, and the next one is to rate your emotional intensity. Get an idea, and this is good if you're along the borderline spectrum, or if you have clients along the borderline spectrum. Rate your emotional intensity. Okay? So 10, of course, would be the most emotionally intense you've ever been. This could be before a self-harm act. This could be before a harmful act towards others, whatever it may be. Okay? And then what is 0? 0 could be that perfect state of calm. Okay, so what we want to do is you want to rate your emotional intensity. Get that idea. So before you engage, if you're going on that favorite person roller coaster, or you have that sense of distorted other relationship with that favorite person, what is your emotional intensity scale? Where are you? Because you don't want to interact if you're 7, 8, 9, or 10, because that's your emotions driving you. And we don't want to do that. What we want to do is we want to engage, right? Possibly a 6. But when we're 3, 4, and 5, we're clear-headed, we're emotionally engaged, but not so much so that we're not making good choices. And that's what we want to do. We want to build that relationship in a healthy manner. And you can do it, I assure you. And then the last one is your favorite person. Sometimes individuals along the borderline spectrum will isolate all other individuals because they want that favorite person in their life. But what I want you to do is to challenge this and to expand your social circle. Who are healthy others that you can have in your life? Who are folks that make you feel good about yourself? Who challenge you appropriately, right? Who aren't derisive towards you? Who don't call you names, right, when you fail or anything like that? Who accept that, right? Who help you move up, feel better, who empower you. And that's what you want, okay? So expand your social circle with positive others. Okay. So today we talked about borderline personality disorder, favorite person. I'd love to hear your comments, any suggestions for future videos you might have. Please subscribe if you'd like, and I have some other videos here. If you're interested, I'd love to hear from you. And as always, I respect your time and appreciate your time. And thank you very much, and I hope you have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.